wheel on the grass on the outside. We've seen that before, obviously with Bottas earlier on.
And I think you've had Mark Hughes is here writing things down for us. You've had a little bit of a look as Antonio Giovinazzi goes for a spin too much. And now what happens as he gets on the power, onto the curb, Johnny. There you go.
Just a little bit on that sausage curb.
We really miss each other in the winter. We lose that telepathy.
Robert Kubica
for Red Bull, 17th fastest, and Lance Stroll out too.
A little tap, and then when he got down to 11, so yeah, look, right rear puncture, that's why it wouldn't turn in. So
at his start, riding on board as he tries to make a move past Perez, gets onto the grass, and that I think is where he lost his front wing. It just got a bit too bumpy, and he did very well.
Spun, I hit the front wing.
Older than they would have been this time last year. Now the tyre blankets don't heat them up quite as much.
Oh, that was really low grip.
I mean,
you can see.
You've got tyre warmers.
So once again, turn 1 is fine, and he takes the car into turn 2, gets on the power, bit of a twitch, and then it goes round. So, yeah.
Happen, and we can watch here and see what happened with Giovinazzi and Danny Kvyat. Well, it was Giovinazzi.
yeah, Giovinazzi puts his hand up. Is it to say sorry, or is it to say, what on earth do you think you're doing? But I suspect it's sorry, and he might.
Vettel wonders where he's going. Hamilton goes round the long way, round the outside once again. He's off the track once again, and Sebastian Vettel's lost it. Coming out of turn 4.
Cope with the demand.
So this is the exit of the corner. And that is a sight that Sebastian...
It's a front wing on the curb. Sometimes that gets underneath your front wheels and you just toboggan to the nearest hard thing.
Oh, look how it was oscillating, Martin.
He won that, and you know the inside curb can catch you out.
Spun. I need more temp in the tires, they're freezing.
And our cameras caught it. Let's show you what it looked like from on
So you
board.
see the sheen on the tyres there,
Yeah.
they're brand new. And yeah.
Valtteri Bottas coming out of the pits is to just get rid of tyre blankets altogether, and then we might see more of this sort of thing.
It does happen a lot in the pits, actually, I've noticed. It does allow the driver...
You know that Valtteri Bottas, oh, he's gone around.
So that's Max Verstappen.
Now he's trying to
Warm his tyres up, let's have a look.
So what this is telling us is those medium compound tyres are just not biting into the tyre.
Carry on a little bit to see the two Hasses running side by side, and then Danny Kvyat into Sainz, into Norris. Ouch. Like on board Lando Norris's McLaren, and he probably just lifted off the sofa in unison with the McLaren. Yeah, it's draggy, and it hasn't got much downforce, and George Russell's lost even more because something's fallen off the back of the car.
destroyed the floor.
He's gone over, so yeah, it's tilted at an angle after that hit.
Yeah. Ted, down to you.
But all the mechanics were watching exactly the same pictures that you were and understanding in real time.
The proper brain fade moment. I'm sorry, that is indefensible, because you need to look at the clearance. We might get another shot in a minute of to make the corner,
And then
trying to correct it too late.
He's gone too late.
And makes it through the Q2. This is what happened to Robert Kubica.
Well, he was very committed to the inside wall like Kubica did. He's
up.
blocked the front.
Too much speed approaching the corner.
Yeah, and he didn't bail out, did he?
He could have gone to the right. There is a runoff area there. We've seen drivers doing it all weekend. Or a virtual safety car, but what happened? Kvyat, I think, locks up a little bit. Ricardo certainly locks up, goes straight on and might... area.
You can see how long it takes to get these cars into reverse.
That's where it came. Ricardo reversed into him. It's good to see, always good to see, but yeah, just caught a bit of grass on entry. Ooh, and he's heading towards the...
Looks bad, but it's not actually too bad. It's the front corner, isn't it? And the front wing that's damaged.
Yeah.
It might have done the front right as well, but I would...
Two Ferraris pushing out on the track. Sebastian Vettel had already set a bad middle sector when this happened. There's no one's won after being fastest in a practice session.
Cold tyres again. We've
yeah.
seen this happen so many times this year, haven't we? These cold tyres.
Runoff.
So into turn 4 we go, and as he said, came from out of nowhere.
It was really unusual.
Maybe a bit too much rear bias.
Dragging a damaged car back. Yeah, so he's locked the right front. Now he's had to turn into a slide, and that horrible, sick feeling.
See Rob Cherry there, Chief Mech, on the radio already, trying to spot where the damaged bits are and advise the rest of the guys what spares they need.
Turn 2, as Lance Stroll's got the advantage. Norris was trying to squeeze through, and yeah, he took out the racing point.
I think Stroll probably thought he would yield, he'd give up on that, the McLaren behind him.
Hamilton has pitted.
The team manager, there's a lot of bustling around, but unfortunately not in the cockpit on this side as I walk over the TV screen. But he's actually got his headphones in from his phone, I think. I don't know. Looks like he's got earbuds in or something. But yeah,
Inside front gone,
Inside
yeah,
front.
locks up.
And he'd already committed.
Sorry for that.
Yeah, it locks just as he starts to turn in. That's the worst possible point for it to happen.
committed
and obviously,
at that point.
yeah, you'd committed.
A bit to see how it unfolds.
What is your weather radar saying? Oh, that one didn't work.
That didn't work.
Itself. I don't know if he's tapped the barrier on the inside, but the Renault didn't squeeze him. I think he hit the barrier with his right rear, and it's pushed him around.
Calls this. Let's have a little look now. Down the inside goes Giovinazzi and spins George Russell round. Perez gets caught up in there.
so flat out through the right-hander, under braking now for the left-hander of 6. It just lost the back end. Didn't really what happens. This is 8-9, turns into the right-hander, uses the inside curve a little bit too hard, put him out of position.
Yeah,
that's what happened. He went too deep through the right, put side of the track. It got a little too tight for the left-hander. Yeah,
and jump, and then that's it.
And then that was it.
You see the difference between just a little lock-up, and then there was a chain of events after that, Karun, that he couldn't get out of.
Yeah, just got him.
See it now. Oh, he got right out of shape, didn't he, Johnny, in the early part of that chicane?
It's that yellow curb eclipse there on the left-hand side, and it just completely throws.
I mean, typically the energy needs to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So if you've made contact with the wall, the energy is going inwards through that.
It might be good enough if he can carry on that sort of a pace. Albon leads across the line. That's a crash, and it is the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. Let's just have a look here then. Takes a bit of curb. Oh.
Eyes on, he needs a safety car now to bring him back into play.
And this is the home of the safety car. You get it, and he got squeezed there, didn't he, between a Racing Point and an Alpha.
Nothing he could do.
This is Giovinazzi into turn 1. Oh, that was inevitable.
Such a distant hope.
You know, F1's a pretty competitive world, and it's, you know, everybody's moving forward always, and we were really on the back.
Officially, it's not turn 6 on this configuration. It's the chicane. It's turn 8.
Oh, sorry, no. So it was a different part of the track from what I was thinking. Yeah. So he's lost it on the way into turn 8. Yeah.
So, because you all run different configurations depending on what series you're no chance to control.
Here we go. Turns into the apex, and at that dip, as the car goes through that dip in the road, the rear stepped out of line. So I don't know what the outside shot will tell us, but I don't think we can put that down to a suspension failure like we saw from Kvyat. That was
to his engineers.
Turns in, and just as he picked up the power, the rear end stepped out of line, caught him off guard there. So really, I've ever seen anyone hit the wall there, if I'm honest. We see people run wide, understeer out wide. Never seen anyone hit that wall. And in fact, he's pulled some time back. We didn't get to see him run.
Oh, there goes Sebastian Vettel, and we've got another of the big 3 teams. To have 3, Guru, there's normally something else at work on this one. Yeah. And once he's turned there, it's completely gone. It's gone.
Yesterday, here's George into Brooklyn. It's still bumpy into there. And he turns in, and yeah, it was Brooklyn's, the rear end just came round on him. Turning across the wind, he would have had looking at Austria. I mean, Magnussen, his qualifying lap, I thought, was one. Oh, Lando drops the rear end, just a bit greedy with his right foot coming out of.
We're going to see another shot of it from the outside. So, yeah, he'd already put his foot down before he got onto the curb.
and that's a new permanent curb.
There we go.
And this probably a new low in this worst season.
Go on, Ant.
So yeah, camera breaks up a bit, but you can see what I was talking about as he turns in. The rear just loses it, and
No, it's I don't think it's driver error. It's just locked up under initial down.
I wonder if something's fallen off. There's a bit of contact made here earlier. That was Sergio Perez's front wing. Job done, going into Stowe, where Valtteri Bottas has pulled off some great moves. Oh no! Sebastian Vettel's gone into Max Verstappen.
Martin Verstappen was all fall off there momentarily.
It's just like Ricardo and Verstappen in Baku. Once you get
Lifted back.
yeah,
Gets the gravel out of it, doesn't it?
true.
I guess so.
As Daniel Ricciardo goes for a spin on the entry to the pits, that might.
No, that's a
crashes during pre-season testing. It's taken him a while maybe to get his confidence back. It completely snapped on him, Paul, and he was heading to that wall before he could do anything about it. Ripple stack. This is what happened then to Sergio Perez. He's behind Kevin Magnussen, and there he goes, sailing, literally.
Yeah, he's gone onto that. There we go. That's the skating rink, the drag strip.
It's about as grippy as an ice pet.
Lucky to keep that going as well. Yeah.
It looks pretty, but it doesn't feel it, I'm sure. I wonder what they were cheering for, and I'm not sure they were cheering for much.
Oh, he's had the spin there. Oh, look at that. The little aero piece is a lot of good. It's no grip at all.
Try and keep off the curbs if you can.
Oh, he had that tiny bit of understeer, and now it's just going to skate straight into the barrier. Extraordinary. But here we go. So Lewis, look how skatey that is, and just a little clout of the barrier, but he had some momentum, a little bit of oversteer. That's just plain understeered off, hasn't it? And then that's caught him out. And then he actually hitting the brakes was...
Rosberg, what a feeling, what a horrendous feeling that must be in your home Grand Prix. As for the second year running, a German driver crashes out.
He's just got a little bit wide and touched the wetter part of the track. It's not often you see Lewis making mistakes. It's going to be the same thing, I guess. He's going to touch a bit of water. He runs a bit wide. It's the same spin that Lewis had, but it sort of materialised in a different way. Straight to the scene of the accident.
And spinning around, no chance to stop. And that is Valtteri Bottas's 20.
just runs into the back of him as he pulls to the right.
He does.
No. So Albon went for the defence.
To really get it together, because obviously then there'll be a lot of pressure on you know, what we do for next year. But we're not him or switching drivers around. It's really in his court now to get it together and start.
A lot of speed into this corner.
Is this an easy corner to lose the rear or not?
It's a funny one, because generally you pick to get in the top 10 for the first time in a while, and they've continued that update package. They've brought a new front suspension.
The exit of turn 11, plunging down the hill.
A bigger screen.
Oh, just.
I think he does, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And he's
Wide out, here we go. This is the one that might give it away. Yeah, there you go. Clear as day there. Ah, driver error.
And he's gone in. Jump. As the final corner, Charles Leclerc going into it. Has he had a spin? Yes, he has had a spin. And touched the barrier.
Wait, and pin the throttle. He pinned it a bit too early. Oh, rear wing as well.
Dear. And he has come round the source. Are coming drivers' ways. Oh, Danny. That's very graceful, but that's not what we...
Whatsoever. This is the same going into the source once again with Robert Kubica. Yeah, there you go, exactly the same. There isn't...
With Lewis now. Backhand just completely gone away from him there.
Yep, that's quite a big chunk. He went and put a wheel on the left-hand side.
But does that cause that?
Yeah, it's gone on the curb there, and it's great on the
curb.
Yeah,
there's a little lip.
Yeah,
the little lip from the circuit on that curb itself, and that's...
Sainz has stalled on the grid. Sebastian Vettel tucks in behind Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton on the inside, trying to get it. Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen has been made contact with.
Inside of Kimi, who would not be able to see him coming in there. That's the risk of La Source. Max will have to take the blame for that one, I'm afraid. Steering's not activating as it is. It goes at the top of the hill. Oh, he nearly took somebody else with him. But he's in play. So he's gone to the inside of the corner, not realising that 2 cars width away from him.
Perez and with Robert Kubica, this is what happened to Antonio Giovinazzi.
He dropped it mid-corner.
Taking it very steady, and then he gets on the power, and that's the end of that, Paul.
I was thinking it was going to be on the carpet, but you see he's just wound some power on, and it's just absolutely
warm fashion to say the least. Here, this is Carlos Sainz.
And this normally, Crofty, is a higher speed corner in the dry, but in the wet you can see how slow he's going.
Okay, copy.
Oh dear, that's poor temperature in those tyres. Got a little bit on the curb.
No. Yeah, exactly the same spot where we saw Carlos Sainz lose it. On the proper line, it's just literally, you haven't got the tyre temperature to be putting your foot down as early as they are. They're anticipating that the grip will be there.
Then crosses over to the left-hand side. Gets on the curb, spins round, finds the speed bump, stops.
well off the rubber trying to brake, but he's brought the car back across to try and open the corner up, understeered, and it looks like he's just going to just have a very slow spin.
As I said, he had a spin down towards the first chicane, just couldn't stop it in time, and slowly but surely.
He was on all the damp bit all the way in there. The tyres would have been so cool. It looks like Ferrari, Leclerc, the guy that won his first Grand Prix last time out, is going to end the session.
Oh, how bizarre. It just turned, it wasn't even that big a whack actually.
But as you said, Martin was hanging back, being cautious.
Yeah, Max was being extremely cautious. And then just suddenly, I think he got a whack. He got a whack up the back, didn't he?
It's Lance Stroll's race ruined as well. He was properly sent around. You'll see the replay in a minute, Crofty. Lots of damage on the racing point. He
came back on the circuit like an idiot.
And I'm sorry, I can't disagree with Lance Gasly as well. So there's, that's poor.
Stroll did his absolute best to get around the outside of that. Vettel will take a penalty for that, and well, what goes around comes around.
Yeah, I think last lap. So you see Lance Stroll going through, and that is how Romain Grosjean did it. Is it that tricky on the exit?
Be a lot of gravel around there about now. I just put too much. You got a lot of throttle on. You do ask a lot of the car laterally.
And it's what, just too much power?
It was that change of direction. No, it's just that change that you just really aggressively have to have a car that's compliant over the curbs.
Oh, Sergio Perez has hit the wall.
That could be.
Who's done that? They're not far enough ahead. And what's happened? Grosjean and Williams, Grosjean and Russell tangling. Oh, Russell gets tagged by under this safety car. So Russell's ahead. Grosjean's got nowhere to go. It's going to help his chances. Kimi Räikkönen's under pressure once again from Kvyat. Kvyat's going to have a go into turn one. Oh dear!
Broken suspension. I just don't think that Kimi was expecting it.
Has to like it.
No, and I don't know what I'm more disappointed by. The fact that Charles now feels her.
Here we go. So yeah, in turn 5. Oh, and these things can be twitchy, can't they, when you get on the power? We see it so many times this season where, like turn 3, he was quite lucky to get away with that one.
Yeah.
Oh, someone that didn't get away with that one. Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, and he's actually touched the wall there, hasn't he? Get on the power at the apex of the corner. You're just trying to trail the throttle slightly, and it's at that point the car is getting a bit light, and it gets...
Alex Albon did exactly the same thing, then broke the oil tank. This is into turn 13. Oh,
he's hit the wall, was he?
No.
Almost. Vettel behind him actually is 3/10 down just in the first sector, although Vettel's done actually the quickest speed through the first sector.
Oh, that's Alex Albon!
Parts for this, but what's he done here? He's not locked the front. Oh, he's just carried a bit too much speed, and you can see when the rear becomes...
In Sochi, and here's a third to add to his tally. Now he's tangled there with Ricciardo, and Ricciardo sent him spinning off into the barriers. Davidson.
Yeah, sorry. A little bit later.
Giovinazzi, he's up the inside, or Ricciardo's on the inside of Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi has nowhere to go. Ricciardo's got nowhere to go, and Grosjean, he's
left-hander about turn 8, I think that is.
Something's broke.
Yeah.
He's lost the brakes on. He's lost the brake pedal, I tell you.
Let's have a little look here. We saw Verstappen just behind this, making his way through a few
Bit of
cars.
curb.
Just broke traction,
Bit of
didn't it?
curb and broke traction there, but that's those.
See this ever on TV, but it really drops away from you, the track there. So you are fighting the rear of the car there at the end of the lap, usually when the tyres are hot. And
It was horrible.
It certainly was. Let's just have a little look. He's got on the grass. Oh, once you get on the grass, Paul, there's no escaping.
It's not like a car snapped around.
The race due to injury in the end. This one happened to Kevin Magnussen. Oh, the wind's got him already. And there's just a passenger, isn't he?
You could see quite up to speed to save that one.
That to me, Paul, looked like a gust of wind and nothing.
Second place, and through on the outside goes Max Verstappen now. Charles Leclerc's on the inside, Verstappen's challenging, and they touched!
With Leclerc through turn one, and now it all slows down and tightens up, and Leclerc does move across him.
There's nothing Max could do there. Max left him space.
Perez, now did he tangle with the Toro Rosso?
Hasn't it? Here we go. Oh yeah,
The
bit of
answer is
body
yes.
work there, yeah.
So Pierre Gasly was the driver.
Got there. Let's see how far he can keep going.
He'll come to this race, Paul, possibly thinking,
Oh, it's in the wall.
Lance Stroll's in the
Wow.
wall. The action out on the track while Martin was giving us the update from turn 6. This is Charles Leclerc down at turn 1, boys. Let's have a look here as we head.
Same thing as what Leclerc did on the entry curb.
And turn 8. Same compound of tyre as well, the medium tyre that Charles Leclerc was on. Kept his hands on the steering wheel. Grip. This is Valtteri Bottas into turn 12, locks up, and there's the spin.
Locked the inside front, I'm surprised.
I'm surprised it did that,
Got on the curb.
Hear that curb, hear that clonk, which I think is probably the floor as well, touched over that curb. We'll see it probably better there. Yeah, I think it's just touching there. Very lucky, wasn't he?
Huffing and puffing.
But what will they do? They disqualify Verstappen's time if he didn't lift. Oh dear. Did he catch the curb?
You know, the polystyrene bit that he eventually hits sticks out. There we go. In fact, it's the Tech Pro, isn't it? He's caught the end of
the session. This morning was a little bit different, of course, because we had quite a bit of rain. But oh, there's Romain Grosjean going off and ruining his lap. Well, let's see what happened. Lock up.
Yeah, he's locked the rear axle.
We're on board with Danny Kvyat. Have they made contact here? Yes, they have, and he's gone into the wall. Kvyat trying to make a move down the inside. That's taken 2 championship points away from Renault.
There was a Haas running a little bit wide in turn 1, but certainly no damage done up here.
Okay, Martin, thank
best
you.
to come back. You can see him. I can see him on the big screen.
With those double wave yellows at the end of the back straight, Anthony Davidson, stop any overtakes.
Telltale puff of smoke there from the right-hand brake.
Just not got it hooked up on the inside enough there, and you can see
now
Alex Albon's not tree.
Yeah. So here we go. Whoa.
Wet grass, wet grass.
You're not going to stop there, are you? Oh, that's it.
A hoist coming the wrong way around the circuit now, so hopefully everybody's off the track. Red flags are flying. The Williams. So I noticed that in turn 1, as they were coming off the top of the hill here, struggling for grip.
On Renault with the places as they stand. Ricciardo down the inside into the Esquina de Largo. Oh, he locks up. Magnussen spins round as they make contact. And it's damage.
Okay, we see some left-hand front wing end plate damage, but no big aero effect at the moment.
Down the Retta Aposta, can he now fight back? Leclerc made it very tough earlier. And for the, oh no, he's got a puncture. They make contact, and Charles Leclerc's got a puncture.
That was the merest little touch, wasn't it?
Who's at fault there?
Didn't Seb swing a little bit?
All over the rear of Antonio Giovinazzi, and Alex Albon has Hamilton troubles here as he turns in. Oh, and Lewis Hamilton makes contact with Alex Albon. His first
18, all looks good. Commits the 19 over the curb, on power. And pretty much what Sebastian Vettel did.
Yeah. Spin, wasn't it? It's the inside curve. Watch here. There's unsettled much earlier than the AstroTurf, and I think that's why.
Towards the end of the back straight, Bottas dives down the inside. Oh dear. That was a little bit.
Valtteri, and I don't think Grosjean was really expecting that. Oh, yeah, that.
It came from way too far.
There, and now he's checking again, actually, to be fair. Oh, and then turn. Okay.
Hang on, but if I was Grosjean and I looked at him.
He's really trying to find himself some space.
And is that tyres too cold?
Yeah. He's waited so long, he's not really pushed it on the outlap, and that...
This is how it looked on board with Lance Stroll. We saw the brakes smoking away at the start. Gasly